So is this the perfect film photography travel camera? So my next trip to the US is rapidly approaching, and I was thinking about what camera stuff I want to take with me, and naturally I started thinking about the Pentax 17 film camera, because honestly this is probably my favourite camera that I've used for travelling. In this video I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons, I will be fair, of using the Pentax 17 for travel photography based on my own personal experience, specifically around travel, in the hopes that it helps you decide if this is the right camera to pick up for your traveling, or just to pick up in general, to be honest. And if you already own one of these delicious little cameras, then this video might be good for you too, because there are some tips in here that will help with the overall experience, especially when I start talking about battery availability. Yeah, you might want to stock up on batteries before you go on that little trip to Madagascar, because I don't think that dancing lemur that sounds like Borat will know what the a CR2 battery is. So all things to consider. So this is going to be a pretty quick fire video. I'm going to run through these points as pros and cons kind of randomly, because one person's con could be another person's pro. There's definitely a joke about divorce in there somewhere, but I digress. Okay, so straight out of the gate, let's just address the elephant in the room. This is a half-frame film camera. If you have seen more than 30 seconds of a video about the Pentax 17, then you'll probably know what half frame is, but just in case you don't know, all it means is that when you press the shutter and you expose a photo on the Pentax 17, it only uses half the frame, and then it only advances half the frame. So what that means is, as the film roll ticks along in the back of your camera, you essentially get double the amount of photos out of every single roll of film. Instant pro, right? You can carry less film and get more photos. Carrying less film is beneficial because there's less stuff for you to lose while you're running around everywhere, because it's less stuff to look after. And it's also less stuff to pull out at security checks when you're trying to avoid the scanners. Carrying less film also leaves more space in your camera bag for you to buy random cheap shit that you don't need, so that when you get home you can look at it and go, what the f did I buy this for? But plot twist, baby! Half frame can also be considered a con. By only using half the frame, you're effectively getting a half-size photo, which kind of means you're getting half-size image quality. But, and this is a big but, I do like them, I cannot lie, but if you're just taking your film travel photos and slapping them on Instagram in the hopes that girls will actually like you, and you don't plan on printing them or blowing them up really big or sticking them on the side of a bus, then you likely won't even care about the difference. So I guess before you let half frame put you off, ask yourself the question, when was the last time I printed my photos? Be honest. If the answer to that question is I never print my photos, then I really wouldn't be concerned about half frame if I were you. Now, probably the biggest con of this camera when it comes to traveling, for me personally, is that it is not weather sealed. Yep, that is a bummer. However, I have used this camera in like a reasonable amount of rain. Ah yes, the sunshine state. Let's go do that ride with the little jaundice people. And it's always been fine for me. Not that I recommend that before someone goes and gets it soaked and then they're like, oh, that guy on YouTube said it'd be fine. I didn't say it would be fine. I'm just saying that I'm an idiot. Imitate said idiocy at your own risk. And whilst I've never had any issues with the weather sealing specifically myself, knowing that a downpour of rain right at the start of a trip could put this camera out of action isn't great for the old blood pressure, is it? But I guess this matters more to some people than others, depending on who you are as a person, I guess. Like if you see a light drizzle of rain and you're like, yeah, nah, I'll be at the bar, thank you, then obviously this isn't going to be a big deal for you. But if you are like me and you hear the words, there's a storm incoming, and your first thought is to grab your camera and get out the door in a pair of socks and sandals, then not having weather sealing could be a bit of a deal breaker. Let's talk about zone focus. Before I bought this camera, I thought the zone focus was like an absolute deal breaker for me. I would have considered zone focus the ultimate con, no question at all, not buying this camera because it has zone focus. But after using this camera extensively myself, I actually think zone focus is one of its biggest strengths. If you've seen some of my other videos on this channel, then you will know that there are photos that I have got in the pitch dark on a moving boat just because I was shooting them on zone focus. Like autofocus would have had no chance at all. Manual focus would have been too fiddly. Because I had zone focus on the camera that I was holding, I have these photos. Like my entire opinion on zone focus has changed because of this camera. If you're not familiar with what zone focus is, all it means is that you just focus in zones. You spin the little dial at the front here and you pick a zone. So these little symbols tell you how far away something would be. So you go from super close, close, further away, and then really far away. All very technical terms, obviously. Yes, there is a bit of a learning curve to using zone focus, but once you've got your head around it, it is surprisingly straightforward. But that's just my personal experience of using zone focus. I like zone focus so much after using the Pentax 17 that I actually picked up some other cameras that have zone focus, specifically because I enjoyed using zone focus so much. There is also a very sneaky little autofocus mode on this camera. If you put the camera into full auto, you don't have to select which zone you want the zone focus to be in. It'll essentially raise the aperture to the point where it's kind of hard to miss a photo. As such, pretty much everything is in focus. So it's kind of like a full auto mode on a point and shoot. And I've kind of just been using this as my full autofocus mode. If I don't want any control over the settings, I just want to get a quick photo, then this is the mode that I'll often use. Built-in flash is a massive pro for travel photography. Not having a hot shoe on the camera for an external flash overall is definitely a con, and it does limit this camera when it comes to using it for like professional use. But for traveling specifically, it kind of isn't a massive deal for me because it removes that temptation of me taking yet another gigantic external flash with me in my camera bag, which is already too full, which I've already taken the piss with when I turn up to the gate at the airport. You might be thinking this video seems a bit biased. I made my point at the start. I really like this camera. So if you wanted to see some Pentax 17 bashing, you weren't going to see it here, were you? If you're going to events whilst you're travelling, big public events will often stop you from taking in any camera that looks quote unquote professional. If you turn up with like a Canon A1 or one of these big Minolta SLRs that I love to use so much, then it's likely going to attract negative attention when you're going into the arena or wherever, and they might tell you you can't take that camera in. But I have never been stopped with the Pentax 17 because it looks so harmless. It just looks like a little point and shoot. Now the final con is the battery life isn't great on this camera, especially if you're using the flash. Depending where you are in the world, you might actually struggle to pick up one of these batteries in a rush because it's not like a AA. So you're going to want to stock up on them batteries. Think how many batteries you think you're going to need and then double it, because this thing, it's a scranny lad. It will gobble the batteries. So with all of that being said, would I recommend the Pentax 17 for traveling? Absolutely. It should be clear at this point. There's no real mystery in this video, is there? I obviously love the Pentax 17 for traveling, and I think the pros massively outweigh the cons. But I also don't massively print my photos. That's the big one. I think that's if there's anything to take away from this video, it's probably the printing photos thing, the weather sealing, and the battery thing. The lack of weather sealing does suck, and it does mean that I have to take another point and shoot camera with me, specifically because of that con. So if that's a deal breaker for you, then that's fair, I totally get that. But if I'm concerned about the weather, or I want to shoot in water or a storm or whatever, then I'll pull out my trusty Canon SureShot A1, which is fully waterproof, could be submerged and everything, and that just ticks that little box for me quite nicely. Another stellar camera for travel for sure. Thanks for checking out the video. I'm going to be pushing out quite a lot of stuff from my last trip to the US because I've realised that there's a load of it that I've not used yet, and I'm about to go back and get loads of new stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be making use of that. Everything you've seen in this video, most of it will probably have been from the last time that I was in America. Very, very cool. Had a great time. Can't wait to go back. Very exciting. Going to be shooting shitloads of film. So much film photography, so stoked. So if you're interested in any of that, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure you like this video. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming. I hope you are well. I hope your family's good. I hope your dog is well. And as always, little scratch behind the ears from me. And hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Peace.